Now, going over to the Culture Pod podcast, you have Pete Buttigieg's husband having school kids pledge allegiance to the LGBTQ flag, which is going viral on X Twitter. This was first brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, and it is interesting. He's actually, what does the youth say, punching back or responding to her as well. Now, originally, it's only about 26 seconds long, so I'll go ahead and play the clip. And I was going to say, perhaps you're glad you're not seeing this. I am looking at software alternatives and trying to see how I could, if you have suggestions, again, I'd love to hear them. Trying to find technology that would enable me to do picture-in-picture in production to make it a little bit more streamlined. So, because right now I don't have the resource allocation to do hours on editing post-production to actually insert the clips manually. So again, if you have suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Always look to make the show better and better. Now this looks like to be his name is Chaston. I don't want to say it's a red flag, but it's a weird name. I mean, almost as weird as Buttigieg, which is really silly. I mean, that's almost as silly as someone being named Topping. Oh, wait. Nevertheless, now, going back to the clip, I'll play it really quick. It's only 26 seconds long. You have a bunch of kids. Of course, they don't have the American flag. They have the, looks like the OG, the original Pride flag, I think, from the 90s. Whereas the flag is just rainbows. I don't think, again, marketing is key. We'll see how many flags there are. And he's wearing a t-shirt, which, again, ridiculous. Everyone knows men should always suit up. You always look your best.
To the rainbow. The not so typical gay camp. One camp. Full of pride. Indivisible. Affirmation and equal.
Affirmation. So it looks like they pan to the, I'm guessing the teacher or a very old student. No, it has to be a teacher. This teacher, I don't want to say it's cultural appropriation, but the dress, shirt, whatever they're wearing, looks shockingly similar to what Miss Frizzle would wear on the Magic School Bus. It has a bunch of weird and unique scribbles on it, but the teacher does have shockingly bright orange short hair, glasses. Interesting.
Equal rights for all. Affirmation and equal rights for all. Watch your hands.
So then Mr. Chaston is waving the pride flag, and then in the background there's a trans flag. I don't see an American flag anywhere in the classroom. It looks like this is maybe a summer school just for that. Now, Liz of TikTok, she responded, or rather when she posted this clip, she also said, quote, Chaston Buttigieg, husband of Secretary Pete Buttigieg, is attacking me because he feels threatened by Libs of TikTok mission to expose child groomers like him. He doesn't want you to see this video of him making kids pledge allegiance to the rainbow and LGBTQ pride, so definitely don't share it, unquote. Now, let's see here. This is him responding to her. So she also said, so Kristen Buttigieg calls out Oklahoma superintendent Libs of TikTok for dangerous school environment. What? So Libs of TikTok said, quote, the husband of a current cabinet member publicly blasted a citizen journalist because I posted TikToks he didn't like and didn't want kids being trans in school. Does anyone else find this alarming? So it looks like another news station said, feel embarrassed, calls out superintendent for dangerous environment. And Chaston Glazman Buttigieg says, quote, as a parent and former teacher, I want qualified people involved in education. This is actually quite simple. Chaya, so I believe the youth call it dead naming for Libs of TikTok, or I don't know, you call it docking, something like that, isn't qualified to hold her appointed government position. She doesn't live in Oklahoma, holds no degree in education, 0 classroom experience. The rest is theatrics. Which, I was going to say, the plus side of modern society, I think we're kind of moving away from the people worshiping pieces of paper and think, oh yeah, this person has a degree in XYZ. They must be brilliant and informed. No, I think real world experience is actually proving to be more and more true. And again, in this case, I think a lot of people are concerned about this. He says, former teacher. He's a parent. Now, controversially enough, Pete Buttigieg and Chaston Buttigieg adopted a child, and then they played dress up in the hospital. So, again, the child didn't come out of them. I was going to say, I may have to clarify that because it is 2024. And yet they dressed up in, like, what do you call it? Like hospital gowns, I believe. And they took a 6-month vacation, which was controversial because, again, Pete Buttigieg, who works for the U.S. government, allegedly, no one knows really how much he's really done, but he took a 6 months vacation and no one realized it. which kind of shows how not needed you are in terms of if no one realizes you're gone from your job for 6 months and you're getting a paycheck every single time. I know paternity leave is a controversial topic in and of itself, but these are both biological men. They're not physically recovering from delivering a baby. So controversy over controversy. It's no wonder why this is a very viral clip. Now, this got, again, 3.9 million views in the first 24 hours, so it went viral to say the least earlier this week. It also got 35,000 likes. And again, this is, I think, becoming more and more controversial in the United States. Actually, clarify, or speak more articulately, perhaps. Now, again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I do have a theory. The more people that click the subscribe button, the more articulate and the better speaking abilities I believe I've gotten. Now, granted, some might say it's just a modicum of improvement since when I first started the show, I stumbled over my words, spoke even faster rate of speech, believe it or not. But as I got more subscribers, I've gotten a little bit better. Granted, again, some people might argue it's just a modicum of improvement, but I would argue an improvement nevertheless. Now, as this become one of the most viral things that Lives with TikTok has tweeted lately, I can't suspect. I mean, I do follow a lot of people. This has devolved almost into a political issue for a lot of people. I think hopefully there'll be some contrarian statements to make it a little bit more interesting when we look at the comment section, but let's dive in and find out. One of the first ones comes from Planet of the Memes. Now, I don't want to say F- for marketing, but they responded to text only, not, in fact, in responding with a meme. But nevertheless, this alleged Planet of Memes says, quote, why do they always need an audience of children, unquote, getting 2.1 thousand likes. Lives a TikTok respondent saying, quote, children are their target audience, unquote, getting 1.6 thousand likes. And I go over to Old School Eddie saying, quote, they always go after the kids, let the reality sink in, people, unquote, getting 1,000 likes. Joshua Walker says, expose them all, getting 351 likes. Overton said, quote, this is a feature, not a bug, of the Biden administration's cabinet, getting 393 likes. Paul Zazupa says, quote, Chasten Buttigieg should be pledging allegiance to the American flag. Otherwise, why is he in the United States? Unquote, getting 630 likes. Jason Stormchaser Nelson said, quote, groomers don't see themselves as groomers because they were likely groomed to think it's normal. Sad, unquote, getting 1.1 thousand likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, nothing right about this, unquote, getting 1,000 likes. Let's see here. Miles of Entertainment says, quote, Matthew 18:6 says, quote, but whoever causes one of these little ones to believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a great milestone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea, unquote. Getting 182 likes. Let's see. Branos says, quote, the fallacy he's believing is that an education in education makes you morally and ethically equipped to educate, when it actually creates an echo chamber of moral relativism. And there's a little meme, and it's the, I don't know, we call it the liberal man, crudely sketched in pencil, crying, saying, quote, no, you need a degree in education to take porn out of schools. And it's an attractive woman saying, quote, really? Because the people with degrees in education aren't doing it, unquote, getting 692 likes. I was going to say, there's a lot of controversial books in schools as well where they actually show pornographically instructions on how to perform sexual acts, which, again, when they talk about banning books, those are the books they don't want in public schools, which a good rule of thumb is if you can't do something in a public park, like you can't read that book to someone in a public park, and yet you're doing it in a school, probably not appropriate. In fact, you actually have parents taking that book to PTA meetings, and teachers actually censor the parents because the books are so inappropriate, partially also because the teachers' unions don't want people to realize the type of morally vacuous materials they have in the schools these days. You also have Jim Hansen saying, quote, hey, Chasten, isn't the actual theatrics you having kids pledge allegiance to the queer banner, unquote, getting 357 likes. American Archer says, quote, picture that, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, the criminally negligent transportation secretary's DEI hired husband is a groomer. Who would have thought it? Unquote, getting 245 likes. Erox Abe says, quote, I've seen this before, and it's a picture of a man with a book of Bibles handing it out, and is handing out to a drag queen? A biological man in a cartoon dressed up, obviously in woman face, or in a woman attire, holding a pride sign, and say that one with a microphone or megaphone saying, quote, stop pushing your beliefs. Somebody getting 38 likes. Let's see here. Ask a trans widow saying, quote, was this as Was this as the LGBTQ center that Pete and Chaston cut the ribbon for? Chaston likes to be around kids and the center of lots of activities for kids. And it was, looks like Buttigieg cutting the ribbon for a all ages drag show 2020. And the show, yeah, has children as young as what, 3 or 4 or younger actually. There's babies there too. And they're in front of all the drag queens. That got 14 likes. Let's see here. Don Hansen saying, quote, note the big lefty news agencies never publicize this. They want to present a normal face to the public, so more people will vote Dem, so they can keep doing garbage like this in private, unquote, getting 90 likes. So this seems to be 100% ratio in favor. So I guess the reverse ratio. Vindication, perhaps, is a better word for it. But I mean, I'm scrolling down more and more. I'm not seeing a lot of contrarian thoughts. Usually, there's a couple people, as this, again, has become kind of a political issue, there are a couple of people I follow who are left or far left on X Twitter just to kind of gain their perspectives and, you know, make life a little bit more interesting when it's not an echo chamber. And I'm not seeing, let's see here. Yeah, I'm really not seeing any contrarian statements. Yeah, it seems to be overwhelmingly supporting libs of TikTok. Now, again, there are people who believe and promulgate the ideals that this is a good thing. I'm not seeing them in the comments, but again, those people get out, those people vote. I mean, those people are out there, and kind of the cliche, you know, the argument they'll always present is, you know, why do you care? Or no, first it's not happening, then it's yeah, it's happening, but just a little bit. Then it's yeah, it's happening, but why do you care? Then yeah, it's happening, but you should celebrate it. Then last part is oh yeah, you must celebrate it and embrace it. So it'll be interesting to see, culturally speaking, does this just become more and more popular in these types of school environments? Again, some people are saying maybe this is like a summer camp, but again, we also see this happening in public schools like a lot, and even a couple of private schools. Famously in Illinois, there's a private school that actually brought adult toys to the classroom for elementary school and told them how they should be used. And the school actually stood behind that teacher's decision to do that. Which again, I can't fathom a single situation where that would be an appropriate thing to do. And it's horrifying that, in my opinion, that people are actually supporting the teachers that actually want to have those types of inappropriate toys in the classroom. And it'll be interesting to see, I mean, do parents get more active? Do they actually go get elected on school boards? Do they show up and peacefully protest, let their ideals be known? Let the general public know that those books and these activities are in fact happening in the real world. It's not just an isolated incident in San Francisco or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what the cultural impact is, and you know, does the Overton window ever shift, or does this just become normalized and every school does it in a couple of years? I mean, if I were a gambling man, I'd say perhaps this pendulum is swinging a little bit in the other direction, because again, it's one of those things where there used to be something that is called child appropriateness, and again, bring those types of schools or those types of toys and topics into elementary schools, I don't see how that is appropriate. But if you think it is, especially if you disagree, I would be fascinated to hear your arguments in the comments. Granted, I know it's not the YouTube comment section aren't really cohesive to a long-term debate or conversation, but I'd be fascinated to hear, as always, what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.